Welcome back to the Rugby Booth. It's your boy Luke back again. Look, Super Rugby season's coming to an end. I thought it's the perfect time to do a wee video and see how our All Black squad should take shape during this series against France, the mid-year tests. As we look into, we're 2 years in, 2 years on from a Rugby World Cup. We're 2 years away from another Rugby World Cup. So what are the All Black squads going to look like? What does it take shape like? How do I think it should go? How do I think Razor will go? We'll go and discuss all of that. Basing it off, same example as last year, the test against England, they selected 32 players. We're going to use those 32 players and positions. We're not going to change anything there. So it'll be the exact same positions and squad numbers, but some players may change. So we will start with the hookers. This, to me, pretty much foregone conclusion. Asafo Moa, Samisoni Tokiao, and Cody Taylor. Now, Asafo Moa injured his hamstring before the qualifying final against the Brumbies, so how he returns from that, if he's available during these series, maybe not. We'll see. For him, back up there, you've got George Bell, seems to be the go-to. They selected him last year in the All Blacks and seem to have big ambitions for him as a player coming up. He looks like to be number 2 to Cody Taylor in the Crusaders colours as well. Props. Props are a really, really hard one because there is actually quite a lot of talent in this position at the moment. The current or the former players, the squad that went into that series were Ethan de Groot, Fletcher Newell, Pasaleo Tosi, Tyrell Lomax, Ofatunga Fasi, and Tamatai Williams. And that's a good group. Now, I know Offa is out injured, had a neck injury. I don't think he'll be back in time for this. I don't think they'll even rush or take that chance. So it opens up at least one spot. Tamatai's been battling a hamstring injury, but fit to play in the final. So I kind of look and I go, well, how do you take one of those players out? The issue I have is I think there's a number of players that are playing incredibly well. Ollie Norris, George Dyer, 2 props in Chiefs colours, absolutely killing the game at the moment. Dyer especially. And then you've got someone like Xavier Numia from the Hurricanes, who has also been very good. A little undersized, but again, has been in the XV setup, is held in high contention, I think, in All Black circles. To me, I think they're looking at Numia as a backup for Tonga Fasi. Dyer, I don't know how he doesn't get in. I know Tosi is, the potential's there and the size is there. He's massive. There is no doubt about that. But I just, the way that Dyer's been playing, it's so hard to not select him, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm interested to hear people's opinion on that because it's such an important position nowadays. Again, props, very important in the game. That's where we sit at the moment. In my head, we're going Tosi and we're going to bring in Numia for Tonga Fasi. Locks, foregone conclusion. Sam Darry's out and he's the only one that kind of comes in there. You could go Fabian Holland if you're extending the squad and you're going to pick more, but the 3 you're taking are Tupavai, Scott Barrett, and Patrick Tuipulotu. That ain't changing. As good as I think Holland's been, and as I think he is All Blacks worthy at some point, you ain't changing those 3. He's not better than those 3. You will not change my mind on that. Now, saying that, if you extend the squad to, say, 35, I think you take another lock and he gets in there. The loose forwards is where we really get sticky. And I say sticky, I think sticky to the point where I don't know where to go. I don't know who to select. The 6 players they selected this time last year were Luke Jacobson, Wallace Satiti, Adi Savia, Dalton Papali'i, Samapini Finau, and Ethan Blackadder. And those players are all worthy of the All Blacks jersey. Let's not hide from the fact there that to take one of those players out would be really, really harsh from their performances this year, what they've been doing. But then you've got players like Duplessis Karifi, Hoskins Satutu, Christian Leowille, and Peter Larko, who came into form towards the back end for the All Blacks. So I go, wow, they've got a selection headache here. Look, in my honest opinion, if I was selecting the squad, I don't know. I don't even know what Razor's going to do. I think Peter Larkai ends up in there, which then makes it really hard to select Duplessis Karifi, who's had probably one of the best years in Super Rugby for his career. Hoskins Satutu, again, was very good for a shit Blues team. Like, the Blues weren't good, but he always seemed to be performing. And I spoke recently, Christian Leowille, to me, is just one of those players, 6'3", 6'4", I think they ended up measuring him in it. Great line-out option, great ball carrier, very good player. Hard to not select him. So in my head, I've gone, Adi Savia, you're not going to remove him. Wallace Atiti, Luke Jacobson. Those 3 are a lock for me. I think all 3 of those deserve to be in there. I then start to go, Dalton Papali'i or Duplessis Karifi. I imagine they'll go Dalton Papali'i based off what he's done. But du Plessis just re-signed. I think after his season, you give him a go here. We know it's not a strong French side, so I think du Plessis-Kirifi gets in over Dalton Papali'i. Sends a bit of a message to Dalton to say, let's not be honest, let's not hide from the fact that he wasn't at his best for the Blues this year. Then I go Samipeni Finau, Ethan Blackadder. I think Peter Larkai gets in there, as I said. So those three, plus du Plessis-Kirifi, plus Peter Larkai. How do they go? I mean, it could come down to the final itself, deciding on that, who plays better. Like, that is literally where we're at with, like, Ethan Blackadder, Samipeni Finau. In my mind, Christian Leo-Willie puts his hand up so often there. I'm going to go Christian Leo-Willie. I don't think they do, but that is the direction I would be heading in. Again, his ability to play 8, he can also play 6. Wallace Atiti can play 6. Luke Jacobson can play all 3 of them. So I just think there's enough there to take those 6 players, and that's the 6 I would be taking. Halfbacks, in my opinion, select themselves as well. Cam Roigard, Courts Ratama are the 2 out-and-out halfbacks. You look at Finlay Christie, I don't think he's had a good year. People were like, he's had a good year, he hasn't had a good year. The Blues won 6 games in the season. Shut up. So then I go, well, who's next? You look at those Crusaders halfbacks. Noah Hoffman seems to be leading the way over Mitch Drummond and Kyle Preston. So I go Noah Hoffman. With Finlay Christie, the outside man, looking in yet again. I even think Xavier Rhodes should be above Finlay Christie. I think the work he's done, you could argue a case him over Noah Hoffman, in my opinion. But I think they go with the experience of the All Blacks that they've selected. All 3 of them are fairly young, so it will be interesting there. But I think those 3 are the selections. First 5/8 is very similar to the locks. You've got Beauden Barrett, Damien McKenzie. Those 2 are locked. Okay, they're in. If you're selecting a bigger squad, you can start to talk about Brett Cameron, Josh Jacombe. They're not going to get in a 32-man squad. It's just not going to happen. There's no need for them with those 2 being able to play it. If they were really wanting to, again, Stephen Perifetta, his name's in there, but he hasn't stood out this season with the Blues. Harry Plummer moving overseas. So they may select a third one for experience. Again, I was going to say young French team, but not full strength French team against this All Black side. We should deal with them pretty well, but it might be a good experience to bring one of those off the bench, see how that goes. Not 100% sure. Midfielder's God, this is the question of this video. Look, I'm going to consider Anton Leonard-Brown out injured, and even if he wasn't, how to select him or what you do there, he's such a great rugby player that you have to have him in your thoughts. But I don't think he's going to be right to play the series, so we're going to count him out, which makes my life little bit easier, but we look at it. Okay, so we've got Billy Proctor and Rieko Ioane, you 2 outside centres, in my opinion. You got Geordie Barrett as your 12. Where do you go from here? Quinta Paia, to me, has to be in there. But then that leaves Tavatava Naiwai out of the squad, which to me is criminal because he's been that good and he is that good of a player. The fact that he can cover wing and centre, I have to find a way for him in my squad, but I can't because there's so many good wingers. Again, if I'm selecting a 35-man squad or a 36-man squad, he's in. So currently we're adding a lock, probably Fabian Holland, a fly half, probably Josh Jacombe and Tavatava Naiwai if we're going to add players to the squad going forward from there. So that is kind of where it looks out. Lena Brown, Tavatava Naiwai on the outside looking in. Braden Enor, David Havili not selected. And again, fucking talking about that, that's another player who can play multiple positions, so we're expanding the squad. How does he not get in there? Dallas McLeod's been an All Black. Again, lots of talent in that centre position, so really tough to decide. I don't think they turn away from Rieko or Billy Proctor as the centre's options, and so then you're looking at inside centre. I would love to see a Geordie Barrett, Quinta Paia combo somehow, some way in there. If Geordie could play 13 as well, I think that would be really, really impressive. Outside backs, this is same with the loose forwards. This is the hardest one. Last year, they selected Caleb Clark, Amoni Nadawai, Stephen Perifetta, Severis, and Mark Talia. And those were all good selections at the time. Now you look at it and you go, Mark Talia is still world class, still could be an All Black, but he's going overseas, so they're not going to select him. Stephen Perifetta drops out of that too. So you've got to think, like, what are their options here at fullback? Beauden Barrett and Damien McKenzie can both play it. But Will Jordan obviously comes in, was injured for this series. So when it was first selected, wasn't selected. Will Jordan's in there. So we're going, Will Jordan's number 1. He'll be the 15. He'll be there. In my opinion, Ruben Love has to get some there. 15-10 option. He takes that Stephen Perifetta role. So I've got those 2 there. I've then got Amoni Nadawai. You can't not select him. I've gone Severis as well. So there's 4. I've only got one more person to select. Names I'm chucking out there that can't make it. Kenny Nanaholo, obviously out injured, was the name that was in there. Caleb Tangitau also had a great start to the season before getting an injury. Leroy Carter is one name I have there. I think they still select Caleb Clark over Leroy Carter. I would love to see Leroy in an All Blacks jersey. I love the idea that you can go from 7 to have a good enough Super Rugby season and be selected for the All Blacks. I think Caleb Clark's still got that game-breaking ability in him. Like, there's no doubt that he's a game-breaking winger. He just hasn't shown it as much as we'd like to see for the Blues this year, but the Blues haven't had a good year. So, in the end, I go Caleb Clark, Imoni Nadawai, Ruben Love, Will Jordan, and Sever Reece are the 5 that I've got as the 25, the 5 back outside backs. What am I trying to say? So that's my 32-man squad based off like the numbers that they had from last year that they did this. If they do select a 36-man squad, I would love to see Fabian Holland, Leroy Carter, Josh Chacombe, and Tavatawa Nawai in there. But then I think you also see David Havili. We're talented. Let's not hide. We're talented. And again, they may take out that Ruben Love first 5 fullback opportunity to put in a David Havili who can also fill in more positions. But I've just gone based off what the squad was selected the last time we were here, this time last year. I would love to hear your opinions and your thoughts on what you think the All Black squad's going to look like come June 23rd, I believe it's been named. So tomorrow when this video goes out, which is very exciting, and you will see my reactions. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow Instagram, TikTok, all of those social channels to keep yourself updated. For now, see you later. I've been Luke. Goodbye.